Hello, everyone. It's Harry here to talk about Mark Meadows, subpoena dropped on him by special counsel Jack Smith. All right, we've been following Smith's moves of late, and they've told us, or they've indicated to experienced prosecutors like me that he's really pushing hard, being aggressive, and nearing the end of his investigation, not only into Mar-a-Lago, which was already we'd surmised, but the January 6th stuff as well. And the subpoena to Meadows is the strongest demonstration of that yet. Moreover, to my mind, more important than it's really noteworthy. He subpoenaed Pence and the other moves we've learned about. But if you think about the evidence that he is building, the case he's building, nothing's bigger than Meadows. First, it's so clearly, has to do with the former president of the United States. And second, Meadows is like everywhere. He's been really pretty obscure these last several months, and it's been a combination of pretty good lawyering by George Terwilliger, former Deputy Attorney General, and just kind of circumstance. Among other things, Terwilliger, after doing some cooperation, sued the January 6th committee, and the committee, for that reason, decided it couldn't even say boo about Mark Meadows. All that, of course, doesn't apply on the other and more serious side of the Capitol, the Department of Justice and Jack Smith. And Meadows, to my mind, is, any way you slice it, the sort of most important actor short of Trump. He's there for everything he does. Look at what he does in Georgia, just all the time in the days after the election. It's funny because he talks out of both sides of his mouth, like inveterately. He's the worst chief of staff ever because he doesn't give clear guidance and he doesn't rein in the president. Of course, that might be the hardest president ever to be the chief of staff for. But you have all kinds of things that, that he says to Cassidy Hutchinson, that he does to different members of Congress. He can give them everything about different members of Congress that he personally does, trying to pressure state officials. He's involved to his ears, and he's the clear sort of number two guy. So that Smith has dropped the subpoena here, I think that's the big and near final move. Not to be confused with with thinking that an indictment is coming next week, because this Meadows endgame will take a while. Now, Meadows, remember Pence. We were expecting an executive privilege. By the way, a little piece of side news here. We just found out today that, as I speculated, Trump is going to bring executive privilege in the Pence matter. So they'll have both claims, Trump for executive privilege and Pence as the Senate official for the speech or debate clause. But anyway, Meadows is the person who, the single best person, if you could get one witness to testify truthfully, the man or woman who knows the most and was there for the lion's share of the criminal conduct by Trump. So, thinking about it from his point of view, from Meadows' point of view, what anyone would want in his position is immunity. Because here, he'll say, I'm going to take the fifth. And I think he will say that. We'll see. Or first he'll say, I'm going to try to assert executive privilege. That's a loser. And then he'll try to say, I'm going to take the fifth. Now, they have a move that they can do then to force him to testify, which is by giving him immunity. But Department of Justice guidelines and just general, principles of fairness dictate you can't hand out immunity willy-nilly to someone who's nearly as guilty as the person you're trying to get. And I think Meadows is really beyond the line of what you would normally consider for immunity, unless, of course, they conclude it's the only way they can get Trump, and then Meadows will be a very lucky recipient of a bounty based on circumstances. But otherwise, here's how it would work. He would say, I want immunity. They would say, we're not giving you immunity. He would say, I'm taking the fifth. They would say, fine, we're charging you. That's the leverage that they would have. We're going to bring these crimes against you. We think we can prove them, and you'll be looking at years and years of prison. Now, will that be enough to, sober the mind and make him focus and say, oh, okay, maybe I will cooperate after all in return for very, favorable treatment. So if that were to happen, the basic, and now we are several steps ahead of ourselves, and I'm just doing raw speculation, but this is the kind of thing that would, that happens in big mob cases, organization cases, whatever. He would, at this point, try to cut a deal. He would cooperate, but they would insist he plead guilty to, some charge and probably do some jail time. And it would be a lot more, but for an agreement to testify truthfully against Donald Trump. And if he breaches that agreement, all bets are off and he could go back to the long sentence. Something like that is what's sort of portended by the dropping of the subpoena now on Meadows. And really, who else is bigger than that? So he would be the single best cooperator. If they can, get that to happen, they're basically good to go. And if not, better to find out now and put together the best case they can. So, to my mind, based on liability, based on just desserts, how serious an actor he was, and based on the ability to give, to have been there and seen the most. Meadows is the number one guy. There's a couple things Pence saw or heard that nobody else did. That's important. But Meadows is really would be the big fish here to get and to turn. And that he's now, that's the move he's making, and they're going to have this high stakes standoff about it. Tells us he is really moving at a fast pace in the investigation, not just Mar-a-Lago, but also all the January 6th stuff. So it's going to be really interesting and really important to see how this plays out in the next month or two or three. A lot of moving parts and very, very high stakes. So as things come down the pike here, we'll be listening and looking really carefully, and I will be back to give you my sense of what's happening through the prism of my prosecutorial experience and just whatever little public snippets the DOJ graces us with. Until then, talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.